And bringing your hands into Anjali Mudra, prayer position in front of the chest. You can softly close your eyes. Can you feel the connection of the thumbs to the heart center? Feel that you're slightly lifting the heart and broadening across the collarbones, allowing the skin of your back to release and the neck to lengthen, crown of the head reaching for the ceiling. Be conscious of the soles of the feet in contact with the mat and a feeling of spreading out the ball of the foot, maybe lifting your toes and grounding down through the horseshoe shape of the heel. Just noticing how that grounding action allows you to elevate the chest and lengthen through the whole of the spine. Let the skin of your face soften and your lips lightly touch or even part as the jawbones release away from each other. And as you soften the skin around your eyes, bringing your gaze inwards. And sensitizing to the feeling of the flow of your breath. Breathing with your sound if you're comfortable breathing with sound. And whether you're breathing with sound or not, feeling the whole of the ribcage space expand as you inhale. And as you exhale, staying connected to both earth through the soles of the feet, but reaching for the sky with the crown. Without straining, gradually deepening the breath. Keeping the chest lifted and broad, the neck long. And with a lightness of touch, with the exhale breath, starting to engage Bandha, Pada Bandha, the footlock, the lift of the instep, Mula Bandha, the root lock, engagement of the lower abdomen, pelvic floor, and Uddiyana Bandha, flying upward lock, drawing the navel back towards the spine, just with a lightness of touch, allowing the breath to still flow freely. And releasing your hands down to the sides of the body, softly opening your eyes, staying with that focus on your breathing. With an inhale breath, raise your arms up. Exhaling, slowly folding forwards, bending the knees as you need, releasing the back of the neck. Inhaling to half forward bend with the hands on the shins. Exhaling, folding forwards, crown of the head towards the floor. Inhaling, rising to standing, grounding through the feet as you reach the hands up. Exhaling, take the whole exhale breath to bring the arms down alongside the body. Inhaling, grounding the feet, raising the arms. Exhaling, folding forwards in time to your breath. Inhaling to half forward bend. Exhaling to full forward bend. Inhaling, rising again, reaching the middle fingertips high. Exhaling, keeping it slow and controlled as you bring the arms down. Inhaling, extending and expanding. Exhaling, folding, engaging the navel as you reach the crown down. Inhaling to half forward bend, keep the chest broad, shoulder blades back. Exhaling, folding again, crown down. Inhaling, grounding the feet, rising and expanding. Exhaling, floating the arms down. One more time, half salutation. Inhaling, raising the arms up. Exhaling, floating forwards, folding from the hip creases. Inhaling, half forward bend, collarbones broad. Exhaling, full forward bend, long neck. Inhaling, rising up, reaching out. Exhaling, bringing your arms back down alongside the body. Adding some lunges. Inhaling, raising the arms up. Exhaling, full forward fold. Inhaling, half forward fold. Exhaling, stepping back to downward dog. Inhaling, raise the right leg behind you. Exhaling, take the whole exhale breath, bring the foot forwards for lunge. Inhaling, raising the arms, press through the ball of the back foot. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhaling, left leg lifts behind you. Exhaling, floating it forwards for crescent lunge. Inhaling, pressing off the ball of the back foot, reach up. Exhaling, back to downward dog. With your inhale, rocking forwards to plank, navel in. Exhaling, elbows drawing back, coming down to the belly, point the toes back. Low cobra, inhaling, lift the front chest, chin. Exhaling, chin to the floor. Inhaling, lifting the heart, grip the fingertips in, draw back with the hands. Exhaling, chin to the floor. Move the hands back towards the lower ribs, ground through the mounds of the thumbs as you lift to upward dog, inhaling. Exhaling, over the toes, back to downward dog. Release the back of the neck, look towards the navel. Press forwards through the hands, pads of the fingers, mound of the thumb, grounding. Sitting bones lift, press through the balls of the feet, draw the heels back, feel like you're pulling the back of the mat towards the back of the room. Keeping an expansive inhale breath, activating Bandha with your exhale breath. Looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump to half forward bend on fingertips or hands to shins. Exhaling, ribcage close to the thighs, long neck. Ground through the feet, rise and expand. Reach the middle fingertips high, look up. Exhaling, looking forwards, bring the arms alongside the body. Same pattern again, inhaling, raising the arms up. Exhaling, full forward fold. Inhaling, half forward fold. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhaling, raising the right leg behind you. Exhaling, floating it forwards for crescent lunge. Keep the front knee bent low. Inhale the arms up, try and reach back. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhaling, left leg lifts. Exhaling, floating it forwards, crescent lunge. Front knee low, inhaling, try and reach behind you. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhaling, rock forwards to plank. Exhaling with resistance in the arms, lower down to the belly, point the toes back. Inhaling, lifting the heart, low cobra. Exhaling, chin to the floor. Inhaling, low cobra, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Exhaling, chin to the floor. Hands alongside the lower ribs, inhale to upward dog, broaden the collarbones. Exhaling over the toes, downward dog, find your breath. Equanimous action of the right and the left hand, right and the left foot. Pressing the front of the mat forward, pulling the back of the mat back. Think about lifting Pada Bandha, the footlock, lifting the instep, see if that helps to engage the muscles at the front of the legs. Connecting Pada Bandha to Mula Bandha, the lifting of the pelvic floor. So as we lift those insteps, you may feel that hollowing of the lower abdomen. Lightness of touch. Anything the bandha's engaged, especially with the exhale breaths, and let it go with the inhale breath. And looking forwards between your thumbs with a step or jump, half forward bend. Exhaling, full forward bend, long neck. Inhaling, press into the feet as you expand the arms out and rise up. Exhaling, bringing the arms down and on side the body. One more time, crescent lunge salutations, inhaling the arms up. Exhaling, folding from the hip creases, lift the sitting bones, reach the crown down. Inhaling to half forward bend, draw the shoulder blades back. Exhaling, downward dog. Inhaling, right leg lifting high. Exhaling, foot forwards for crescent lunge. Inhaling, press into the ball of the back foot, front knee low. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhaling, left leg lifts. Exhaling, float it forwards. Inhaling, pressing into both feet, reaching back. Exhaling, back to downward dog. Inhaling, rocking forwards to plank. Exhaling, elbows bending back down onto the belly, point the toes back. Pull the hands back as you lift the heart. Exhale, bring the chest, chin down. Inhaling, press into the tops of the feet into low cobra. Exhaling, chest, chin down. Hands alongside the lower ribs, inhaling to upward dog, spiral the biceps forwards. Exhaling, over the toes, downward dog, chin in towards chest and breathe. And with your inhale breath, feel like you're expanding the upper back as well as the side ribs and into the chest. You can help that broadening action of the back by, without moving the hands, slightly trying to turn the right hand clockwise, the left hand anti-clockwise. Feel like you're releasing the neck out of the shoulder blades as you look down the tip of the nose towards your navel. Then looking forwards between the thumbs, stepping or jumping, half forward bend. Exhaling, ribcage close to the thighs. Inhaling, ground through the feet, rise up. Exhaling, floating the arms down. Traditional Surya Namaskar A, inhaling, raising the arms up. Exhaling, folding, fall forward, fold, lift the sit bones. Inhale, half forward fold. Exhale, step or jump back to plank and then chaturanga roll the belly. Inhale, tops of the feet upward dog, broaden the collarbones. Exhaling, over the toes, downward dog and breathe. As you push through the hands, trying to shift the weight backwards towards the heels. That strong lift of the sitting bones. A feeling of lifting the quadriceps, the front thigh muscles. Drawing the front of the thigh bone up and into the hip socket. And looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhale, ribcage onto the thighs, crown of the head down. Inhaling, rising up, grounding the feet, lift Pada Bandha. Exhaling, bringing the arms down. Same thing again, Surya, lifting the arms up, look up. Exhaling, folding, sitting bones lift. Inhaling, half forward bend, shoulder blades draw back, chest lengthens forwards. Exhaling, stepping or jumping back, plank, then chaturanga or belly. Inhale through onto the tops of the feet, press them down. Exhale, back to downward dog and finding your breath, just focusing on the rhythm of your breathing. Looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale, breath step or jump, half forward bend, draw the shoulder blades back. Exhaling, fold the rib cage close to the thighs, chin in. Inhaling, rising and grounding through the feet as you lift. Exhaling, bringing the arms down. Traditional Surya Namaskar B, sitting into Utkatasana. Inhale, raise the arms. Exhale, fold rib cage to thighs, then lift the sit bones as much as you can. Inhale to half forward bend, draw the shoulder blades back. Exhale, step or jump back to plank and chaturanga or the belly. Inhale onto the tops of the feet, draw the hip bones forwards, chest broad. Exhale, back to downward dog, left heel to the midline, right foot forwards. Inhale into warrior one, right side. Exhale, hands to the floor, plank, chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale, downward dog, right heel to the midline, left foot forwards. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, hands to the floor, back to plank and chaturanga. Inhale to upward dog. Exhale to downward dog, and again, find your breath. If you can bring it back to an equanimous rhythm. Surrey B, as I always say, a little bit more challenging to the stamina, challenging us to come back to that equanimous breath. Then looking forwards between the thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhale, full forward bend. Sitting into chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, back to Tadasana. One more time. Inhaling, sit low, raise the arms high, squeeze the inner thighs. Exhale, fold onto the thighs, lift the sitting bones, reach the crown down. Inhale, half forward bend. Exhale, stepping or jumping back, plank and chaturanga, elbows in. Inhale onto the tops of the feet, collarbones broaden. Exhale, back to downward dog, left heel to the midline, right foot forwards. Inhale, warrior one, right side. Exhale, plank chaturanga. Inhale, tops of the feet, upward dog. Exhale, downward dog, right heel to the midline, left foot forwards. Inhale, raise the arms up, ground through the back heel. Exhale, plank chaturanga. Inhale, upward dog, collarbones broaden. Exhale, downward dog and breathe. Looking forwards between the thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhale, full forward bend, sitting into Utkatasana. Inhaling, raising the arms up. Holding Utkatasana, hands into prayer in front of the chest. Squeeze the ends of the thumbs towards each other, connect them with the heart center. Press into the feet and squeeze the inner thighs towards each other. As you inhale, broaden across the collarbones. As you exhale, engage bandha, maybe even cinching the sideways. Keep that squeezing of the inner thighs, particularly with your exhale breath. One more inhale, then exhale, sitting down into a squat, bending your knees as you lift your feet up for bent knee Navasana. Squeeze the inner thighs towards each other, and as you inhale, lift the heart center. As you exhale, draw the shoulder blades down the back and lengthen your neck. You're trying to engage that squeeze of the legs. Take one more inhale breath. As you exhale, cross the legs, rock forwards, hands to the floor, step back into plank. Hold it in plank for an inhale. Then exhale, chaturanga or the belly. Inhale onto the tops of the feet, draw the hip bones forwards, upward dog. Exhale, over the toes, downward dog. With your inhale, lift the right leg in the air behind you. Exhale, rock forwards to plank with the leg lifted. Take another inhale, then exhale, draw that right knee towards your upper right arm. Press the floor away through the ends of the thumbs. Keep the upper back broad. Take another inhale, then exhale and bring that right foot forwards. Pressing the left hand into the floor, raise the right arm up. And while you're there, ground through the ball of the back foot, make that back leg firm. Squeeze the outer right hip back towards the midline of the mat. Then with an inhale breath, lift up, hand from the floor into twisted lunge. Take a few breaths here and resensitize to the soles of the feet or the ball of the foot. Press the ball of that left foot down into the floor from the leg. Squeeze that outer right hip back towards the midline. As you inhale, broaden the chest a little bit more, expand. Exhale, keep the twist, bring the hands into prayer. Take another inhale and then take the left upper arm to the outside of the right thigh. Press the palms towards each other, try and bring the thumbs back towards the center of the chest. Feel like you're drawing the front of that right shoulder back. Look over the right shoulder if you can. Challenging your balance. Keep grounded through the ball of the left foot, firming that back leg. And with an inhale, lift it back up, extend the arms out, still in your twist. Exhale, hands to the floor, step the right foot back into downward dog. Take a couple of breaths in downward dog. Refine the breathing rhythm. Then with an inhale, lift the left leg in the air behind you. With your exhale, rock forwards to plank, leg lifted. Inhale and really stretch the toes for the back wall. Exhale, bring the left knee towards the upper right arm. Press the floor away, keep the upper back broad. One more inhale, and then as you exhale, left foot forwards to lunge position. Grounding the right palm, lift the left arm up. And swing that outer left hip in as you ground through the ball of the right foot. As you press the right hand into the floor, feel that slight action of trying to turn it clockwise. If that helps to lift the chest a little bit more and draw the right shoulder blade in onto the back. And keep the grounding action through the feet. Might even engage bandha to help you up as you come up into twisted lunge. Reground the ball of the back foot. That left hip to move towards the midline. As you inhale, broaden across the chest. Then exhale, keeping the twist, hands into prayer. Inhale again, and then exhale, take the right upper arm to the outside of the left thigh. Press the left mound of thumb into the right one. Feel like you're trying to use that action to draw the front head of your left shoulder back. Squeeze that outer left hip in again as you ground the ball of the right foot. And inhale, lift back into extended arms, twisted lunge. Exhale, hands to the floor, back to downward dog. With an inhale, rock forwards to plank. Exhale, lower through chaturanga all the way to the belly, point the toes back. Move the hands back towards the lower ribs. And inhale to high cobra, elbows in, elbows bent, thighs on the floor. Exhale, slowly peel it back down. Inhale, stay grounded through the mounds of the thumbs, lift to high cobra. Exhale, peel back down again, chin to the floor. Might move the hands back even more as you inhale to upward dog. Exhale, over the toes, into downward dog. Breathe. And think about activating the feet and the legs. Maybe a slight action of trying to lift the toes and the insteps. Sense of drawing the front of that thigh bone up into the hip socket as you lift the sit bones high. And looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhale, fold the ribcage close to the thighs, chin towards the chest. Sitting into Utkatasana. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, keep Utkatasana, bring the hands into prayer in front of the chest. And squeezing the inner thighs towards each other, pressing the mounds of the thumbs towards each other. Use the thumbs to lift the heart. Feel like you're sliding the skin of the back down, keeping a long neck. You're squeezing the inner thighs with your exhale breaths. See if you can sit a little bit lower. Weight back towards the heels. You can even lift the toes to help that action. One more inhale and then exhale, sitting down as elegantly as you can through a squat and coming back to that bent knee Vinyasa. So take a moment to lift and broaden the chest, keeping the neck long, squeezing the legs towards each other, and then taking your left arm to the outside of the right thigh, take your right arm out to the side. Before extending the left leg, engage the left arm against the leg. Feel like you're drawing the shoulder back. Then extend the left leg. As you do, dorsiflex the foot. Feel the engagement of the thigh muscles, the quadriceps. Then bring that knee back in. Reframe the legs, and with an inhale breath, re-lift the chest and broaden the collarbones. Taking the right arm to the outside of the left leg. Taking the left arm out to the side. Extend the right leg, hover the heel off the floor. Flex the toes back. And then feel like you're drawing the front head of that right shoulder back as you press the arm against the leg. Bring the legs back into both bent knees. Frame the arms. Another inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, cross legs, rock forward, step back into plank. Hold it in plank for a moment. Ground through the mounds of the thumbs. Feel like you're spiraling the biceps forwards. Press through the balls of the feet. And then lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. So it feels like you're lifting your hip points towards your lowest rib. Take another inhale. Then exhale and either to chaturanga or the belly. With an inhale onto the tops of the feet, upward dog. Exhale, over the toes, downward dog. Inhaling, lift the right leg in the air behind you. Exhale, rock forwards to plank with the leg lifted. Inhale and stretch the toes for the back wall. Exhale, bend the right knee, bring it towards the upper right arm. Press the floor away, broaden the upper back. Take another inhale and exhale. Right foot forwards into lunge. Bring your left heel to the floor with the left toes to the side. Warrior 2 foot position. Swing that outer right hip in. Reach your left arm forwards. Draw a circle to the ceiling and draw up into Warrior 2. Looking out over your right fingertip. Take a moment to think about the grounding of the feet. Press into the outer edge of the back foot. As you press forwards through the front foot, think about lifting the toes and lifting the instep. And see if you can bend that front knee a little bit lower. But keep the spine centered in between both legs. Stretch the chest apart. Draw the front head of the left shoulder blade, of the left shoulder rather, back. Keep looking over the right fingertip. Then keeping the front knee bent low. Exhale, bring the right arm to the inside of that right leg, hovering the middle fingertip off the floor. Stretch the left middle fingertip for the ceiling. Stay really engaged with the right arm against that leg and feel like you're drawing the outer right hip towards the long side of the mat that you're now facing. And keep a steady breath. Light engagement of Uddiyana Bandha, navel back towards the spine. And take an inhale, come back to warrior two. Keep that front knee bent low, stretch the left arm back, and then take it down again. And if you want to bring that right hand to the floor, you can. Bring the left arm forwards over the ear. Alternative to bringing that hand to the floor could be the forearm onto the thigh, but try not to lean onto the thigh. Make the action happen in the feet. Stretch all the way from the outer left foot all the way through those left fingertips. One more inhale breath. And exhale, bring the hands to the floor and step back to downward dog. Take a couple of breaths in downward dog, maybe even 3 or 4, all depending on the length of your own breath. Find your breathing rhythm, chin in towards the chest. And inhaling, lift the left leg in the air behind you. Exhale, rock forwards to plank with the leg lifted. Inhale, stretch the toes for the back wall. Exhale, bring that left knee towards the upper left arm. Press the floor away through the mounds of the thumbs. Keep the upper back broad. Take another inhale. Then exhale, left foot forwards between the hands, right heel to the floor, right toes facing out to the side. Swing the outer left hip in, reach the right arm forwards, draw a circle, half circle to the ceiling and lift up into warrior two. Settle in for a moment. Looking out over the left middle fingertip. Focus, steady gaze. Ground into the outer edge of that right foot. Sense of lifting the instep on that leg. As you bend the left knee lower, see if you can lift the toes a little bit. Lift the instep. You can then settle the toes back down to the floor. Use that right arm to reach back behind you and center the spine between the two legs. Now you want to feel like you're balanced between both legs equally active in the pose. Maybe a slight lift of the hip points. Take another inhale and then exhale, left arm down to the inside of that left leg. Keep the front knee bent low. Press the left arm against the leg. Feel like you're bringing that outer left hip towards the side of the mat you're facing. Really stretch the left fingertips for the ceiling. And then lifting it back up into warrior two, center yourself, look out over the left middle fingertip. Bend the front knee low again. And exhale, bring that arm down. So if you can bring the left hand to the floor, you can. But you want to keep the shoulder blades stacked rather than the chest facing towards the floor. You could also have your forearm on that left thigh. Bring the right arm forwards over the ear. Really press into the outer edge of the right foot. Stretch the middle fingertip away. And exhaling, bring the hands to the floor. You can readjust the hands and step it back into downward dog. 2 or 3 breaths in downward dog. And looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhaling, fold the ribcage close to the thighs, release the neck. Sitting into Utkatasana, inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, bring the hands into prayer in front of the chest. So again, press the mounds and the thumbs towards each other. Like you're lengthening the neck, broadening the chest. Squeeze your inner thighs, sit as low as you can. Use the thumbs to keep lifting the chest. Couple more breaths. Take an inhale, lift the heart. Exhale, right elbow to the outside of the left thigh, or separate the legs and bring that right elbow to the inside of the right thigh. Keep pressing the thumbs towards each other. Thumbs as close to the body as you can. Feel like you're drawing the front of that left shoulder up and back. Look over the left shoulder, squeeze the inner thighs if you've got the legs together. Then identify your right leg, that's the one without the arm on it, and step it back into lunge. You adjust the position, press into the ball of that right foot, swing the air to the left hip back to the midline, keep engaging the arm against the leg. And think about it, focus on it, and bring that right knee back forwards to join the other one. Take an inhale, turn forward, stay in Utkatasana chair pose. Lift the chest again with the thumbs. Exhale the left upper arm to the outside of the right thigh or to the inside of the left thigh with the legs separate. And think about it. Identify your left leg, the one without the arm on it, and step that leg back into a lunge. And so you're there thinking about each of the actions that you need to ground. Pressing into the ball of the left foot, swing the outer right hip in, press the right round of thumb towards the left one. Draw the front head of that right shoulder back. And step that left knee back forwards to join the right one. Turn forward facing Utkatasana. Use the thumbs to help lift the chest. Exhale, sit down into a squat and come back into bent knee Navasana. Keep the connection between the big toes and the inner heels. Take the knees out to the side and bring your arms in between the legs. And as you're there, notice if you're losing your neck. So squeeze the legs in towards the arms, press the arms back into the legs, and lift the center of the chest as you do. Now there's resistance between the legs and the arms. There's this feeling of constantly trying to lift the center of the chest, particularly with your inhale breaths. Then crossing the legs, rock forwards, hands to the floor, and step back into plank. So for a moment, in plank, pressing the mounds of the thumbs down, spiral the biceps forwards. Press through the balls of the feet, lengthen your tailbone towards your heels. Feel like you're lifting the hip points towards your lowest rib. And then rock back from there into downward dog. So adjust the feet to where it intuitively feels good in downward dog. Release the back of your neck, bring the chin in towards the chest. Think about expanding the whole of the rib cage with your inhales. Activating the legs with the exhales, engaging bandha. Then step the feet a little bit backwards towards the back of the mat and activating the action from the pelvis. Feel like you're tucking the tailbone under to roll yourself back forwards into plank. Lengthening the tailbone towards the heels, ground through the mounds of the thumbs. Then take it back in reverse, moving from the pelvis. So sitting bones start to lift to rock you back into downward dog, bring the chin in towards the chest, but don't adjust the feet. And tucking the tailbone under in order to start that rolling action. Roll it back forwards into plank. Press away through the mounds of the thumbs, lengthen the tailbone towards the heels, ground through the balls of the feet, and then lift the sit bones back up and come back into downward dog. Inhaling, lift your right leg in the air behind you and ground through the ball of the left foot. Start to turn the right hip open to the side, look underneath your right arm and bend the right knee and drop the heel down towards the opposite buttock. You're grounding through the ball of the left foot and make that leg firm. Then re-straighten the right leg, re-square the hips towards the floor, rock forwards again into plank with the leg lifted, bend the knee, bring it towards your upper right arm, and take it over towards your upper left arm. Extend that right leg out to the left side of the mat and raise your left arm up in fallen triangle. If you want to take it a bit further, left heel to the floor like it's in warrior two position. Lift your right leg up. Only if you feel like it. And then bring that left hand back down to the floor and take that right leg back up behind you in a three-legged downward dog. Bring the right leg down to the floor. Take a breath in downward dog. And lift the left leg in the air behind you. Press down through the ball of the right foot. Lift the quadriceps. Opening the left hip to the side. Bend the knee. Drop the heel down towards your right buttock. You're grounding through the ball of the right foot to make that right leg active. And then re-straighten the left leg, re-square the hips towards the floor. Rock forwards into plank with that leg lifted. Bend the knee, bring it towards your upper left arm. Take it over towards the upper right arm. Then extend it out to the side and lift your right arm up. Again, if you want to take it a bit further, right heel to the floor, left leg lifts. I'm grounding through the man of the left thumb. Slightly spiraling the bicep towards your middle finger. Then right hand to the floor, swing that left leg back up behind you and come back into downward dog with an inhale, rock forwards to plank. Exhale through chaturanga onto the belly, point your toes back. Excuse me. Take your hands out to the side, a little bit away from the body. Press into your tops of your feet, press the hip bones towards the floor, and press the hands down as you lift the front heads of the shoulders, chest and chin. And keep pressing the hands and the tops of the feet into the floor. And as you press the hands down, also feel, without them actually moving, that you're pulling them a little bit towards the body. And breathe all the way up underneath the collarbones. And ground the pubic bone as well as the top of the feet and the hands. Think about cinching in the side waist with your exhale breath. One more inhale and bring the chest chin to the floor, hands alongside the lower ribs, and inhale all the way to upward dog. Exhale over the toes into downward dog. Release the back of the neck for a couple of breaths, looking towards the navel. And looking forwards between your thumbs with an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward breath. Exhale breath, fold the rib cage onto the thighs, release the back of the neck, sitting into Utkatasana. Inhale, raise the arms up. Exhale, keep Utkatasana, bring the hands into prayer in front of the chest. Try and lift the chest with the thumbs. Then sit down lower, lift the toes off the floor. As you exhale, draw the navel in, cinching the side waist. And take another inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, we're coming back down through a squat and lifting the legs into bent knee Navasana. Inhale, lift the chest, and then extend the legs. Try and keep the toes around nose height as you take them out to full length. Squeeze the legs towards each other. Keep lifting the chest high. And here you go. Exhale down into half Navasana. So hovering the shoulder blades off the floor, hovering the heels off the floor, and then lift it back up, full Navasana. Half Navasana. Full Navasana. Half Navasana. Full Navasana. And then take the legs out to the side so that you're coming into seated Upavishta Konasana. So legs are going out around a 90-degree angle. Slide the hands down the legs as far as they'll go, keeping the chest broad. So if you reach down and you feel that you can reach the toes, reach for the toes, or the outsides of the feet if you can go a little bit lower. If you've got the toes, press the toes into the first two fingers and then feel like you're pulling back to lift the chest. Ground the backs of the legs down into the floor. If you haven't got the toes, but you've got the shins, same action. Grab the shins And then feel like you're lifting and broadening the chest and press the backs of the legs down into the floor. Same thing if you've got the outsides of the feet. So you're not trying to necessarily get as low as you can go. You're using the resistance of the hands on the shins or the toes or the outside of the feet and lifting the breastbone up and forwards. If you can then fold from there by bending the elbows, keeping that action of pulling, and do that. And lift it back up to straight spine position. Cross the legs, rock forwards, hands to the floor, and step it back into plank. So you're back into plank. Outside of the right foot, lift the left arm up. Press through the mound of the thumb and try and spiral that bicep towards your middle finger. Knee can be on the floor, and then lift the left leg up. Dorsiflex the left toes, really reach the sole of that foot towards the wall behind you. And then bring that left hand down to the floor, back into two-arm plank briefly, and over to the left side. Reach the right middle fingertips for the ceiling. And that action of pressing into the mound of the thumb and trying to spiral the bicep towards the little finger. So it's an anti-clockwise action. Lift the right leg up. If you can lift the left leg up at this point, you're doing miracles. Flex the right toes back, press the sole of the foot away, and bring that right hand back down to the floor into plank. Bending the elbows backwards, come down onto your belly, point your toes back and take the arms out into a V shape. You're pointing the fingertips towards the front of the room, as if you're pointing to the corners of the room. Press into the tops of your feet, feel the legs engage, press your pubic bone down towards the floor. And then lift both arms up in the air. Keep trying to press into the tops of the feet. Lift the chest, lift the chin. Reach the fingers towards those corners, and then turn the palms to the floor, form a fist, and bend the elbows, draw the elbows back. You're trying to press the tops of the feet down, then reach out for the corners, keep the chest lifted. And press the pubic bone down into the floor, then turning the palms to the floor, bend the elbows, draw them back. So we're moving from a V to a W shape with the arms. One more time. Taking the arms, lifting the chest. And then palms towards the floor. Making a fist, draw the elbows back, chest stays lifted. Take an inhale. And exhale, hands alongside the lower ribs waist. Press into the mounds of the thumbs, lift and broaden the chest. Upward dog. Now try and hold it there for a moment. Spiral the biceps forwards, broaden the collarbones, lengthen the neck out of the shoulders. Press into the tops of your feet and feel like you're trying to pull your hip bones forwards as you lift the lower part of the chest. One more inhale, then over the toes and back into downward dog. While you're here, grounding through the balls of the feet, feel like you're lifting the toes, engage the front thigh muscles, push the front of the mat away, but release the back of your neck, chin in towards your chest. And lifting the right leg up in the air behind you, ground through the ball of the left foot, lift that right leg as high as you can, and then slowly float it forwards into a lunge and turn towards the long side of your mat, turning your feet into wide leg forward bend position. Outside edges of the feet line up with the end of the mat. Bring the hands to the floor. Know that the creases of the wrists are under the shoulders while your sit bones are lined up over your heels. So try and avoid letting the sit bones go back towards the back of the room. Have them stacked over the heels. And remember, press into the palms, spiral the biceps forwards again. Press into the air to heels and lift your quadriceps and spiral the inner thighs back. Taking those actions, repeating them as you walk the hands back between the feet. Only as long as the palms stay grounded. Still that feeling of trying to turn the palms so that you're drawing the elbows into shoulder width distance. Reactivate the legs. Feel like you're lifting the quadriceps and bring the top of the head down towards the floor or in line with wherever your tailbone is. So chin is going to be in slightly towards your chest, wherever you are, rather than the chin jutting forwards. If you do get your head down on the floor and you are inclined to go up into a headstand, you can always do that, but it's not necessary. And walking the hands back forwards again so that they're underneath the shoulders. Turn the heels in so the toes are facing towards the corner of the mat, and bend your knees, sit your bottom back. Then lift the hands off the floor, bring your forearms to your inner thighs. Now just for a moment, try and check this alignment. So ultimately you're trying to bring your thighs so they're as parallel to the floor as you can, and the knees so that they are stacked over the front of the ankles. So you don't want the knees particularly further out. So see if you can get your feet wide enough so that the knees are not further out towards the side of the room than your ankles. Press the arms in onto the inner thighs. Lift and broaden the chest. Then bring the hands into prayer in front of the chest. Make contact with the breastbone. Press the mounds of the thumbs towards each other and use that to lift the chest. Draw your pubic bone forwards, shoulder blades down, long neck. Press into the outer edge of the feet. Feel like you're lifting the insteps, and then see if you can sit down a bit lower, bringing the underside of the thighs parallel to the floor. Couple more breaths. And rock it back forwards, hands to the floor. Keep the feet in that position and walk your hands over towards the right side. As you do, come up off the sole of the left foot. So you can stay supported on your hands. Heel of the left foot on the floor, toes towards the ceiling. Feel like you're pulling that left heel towards the right heel. And if you can bring that right shoulder to the inside of that right thigh, you've got a couple of options. Hands can stay on the floor, hands can lift into prayer, or you can bind, taking the right arm round and then left arm down the back, grabbing the left wrist or fingers. Now we're trying to turn the chest a little bit towards the ceiling, still drawing the front head of that left shoulder back, and don't forget to activate your left heel into the floor and feel like you're pulling it towards the right one. And taking it over, hands to the floor, walk it over to the other side. Bending the left knee, coming onto the heel of the right foot, flexing the toes back. Press that right heel into the floor, feel like you're pulling it towards the left one, and then whatever option with your arms, so you can support the weight on the hands. And bring the hands into prayer position, press the mounds of the thumbs towards each other, draw the front head of that right shoulder back, or take the bind. And you're trying to draw the front head of that right shoulder back. Don't forget to press the right heel into the floor and feel like you're pulling it towards the left one. And releasing the hands back down to the floor. Walk it back to the center. Turn that forwards to the front of the mat. Hands on the floor and step that front foot back behind you into downward dog. Lifting the right leg up. And gracefully bring it forwards into a lunge and bring your right hand to the inside of that right leg. You want to make sure that the left foot is hip width distance from the right foot, even in this position. Then we're going to take that right foot even wider so that the heel is on the edge of the mat, but the foot's off the mat. And bring your left knee down to the floor. Point the toes back. And then you can make a decision. You can stay here, up on the hands. You can walk the hands forwards and bend the elbows halfway back, trying to keep them at shoulder width distance, or come all the way onto the elbows if you can. Whichever one of those you choose, press into the right heel and feel like you're pressing that heel in the direction of the right toes. So we're activating that right leg. And coming back up onto the hands, holding that same position, left hand on the floor, reach the right arm back behind you. Bend that left knee, reach for the foot. Oh, if you don't manage to get the foot, just keep reaching back and squeeze that left heel in towards the buttock. If you get the foot, kick the foot back into the hand, try and turn the chest back forwards. Left hip is dropping down towards the floor, right heel still active, and you're pushing that heel in the direction of the right toes. As you inhale, try and lift the chest. And release that foot. Bring the right hand back to the inside of your right foot and walk that right foot back in so that you've got the leg connected to the arm. And reach the left arm back behind you. And again, bend that left leg, grab the inside of the foot. Remember, you can always come up higher at the front. Coming up higher at the front in some ways gives you a little bit more to work on. As you're pressing the arm into the leg in onto the arm, you've got that lift of the chest, and we're turning the chest out towards the left side of the mat. Deep, full breath. And release it. Bring that foot back down to the floor, facing forwards. Lift the left knee off the floor, ground through the ball of that foot. And then if you want to come back down onto your elbows for a moment, you can. Or stay on the hands, but press into the ball of the left foot. Feel like you're trying to lift the inner left thigh towards the ceiling. And hands back onto the floor. Step that right leg back into downward dog. Release your chin towards your chest. Take a couple of breaths. And lift the left leg up in the air behind you. And then float it forwards into a lunge. Walk the foot out a little bit. Bring the left hand to the inside of that foot. Drop the right knee down to the floor. Point the toes back and walk that left foot out to the side. Toes are facing out towards the corner of the room. Then either onto the elbows or bending the elbows backwards while walking the hands a little bit further forwards. Now you can take it a little bit further and tuck that right toe under and lift the right knee off the floor. Keep active through the left heel and press that heel in the direction of the left toes. And bring the right knee down to the floor. Come back up onto your hands and keeping the right hand grounded. Bend the right knee. Take the left arm back behind you and reach for the foot. If you haven't got the foot, squeeze the heel in towards the buttock and keep reaching back. If you've got the foot, kick the foot back into the hand, turn the chest forwards. Drop the right hip bone down as low as it'll go. But as you inhale, keep lifting the chest. And release it. Bring the left hand back to the floor, shoulder width distance from the right. Walk that left foot back in. Engage the arm against the leg. Reach the right arm back behind you. Bend that knee, reach for the foot. And again, remember, you can come up higher. But you've got to squeeze the arm onto the leg onto the arm. Whichever position you're in, whether the hand's on the floor or lifted, turn the chest towards the right of the room. Keep kicking if you've got the foot. And release it. Hands back down to the floor. And you can come onto the elbows or stay on the hands. Lift the right knee back up. You can be on the elbows too, if you want to, but the right knee is lifting up. All right. And walk back up onto the hands. Step that left foot back behind you into downward dog. Release your chin towards your chest. Release the neck out of the shoulder blades. Reach the top of the head towards the floor as you keep the chin in towards the chest. And looking forwards between your thumbs. With an inhale breath, step or jump, half forward bend. Exhale and fold the rib cage onto the thighs without going into Utkatasana for a change. Inhale, raise the arms up over your head. Exhale the hands down to the hips. And release the right hand and rolling the front head of that shoulder open. Turn the palm out to the side. Keep the hand in that position. Pick up your right foot from the inside. Then line up the thighs. So knees can be maximum hip width distance. Feel like you're lifting your hip points. Draw your navel in and lengthen through the belly. Lift the chest, so lower part of the breastbone is lifting. And then raise your left arm up. Ground through that left foot. Stretch the middle left fingertip for the ceiling. Kick that right foot as far away from the buttock as you can without tipping forwards. So think about lifting the chest, kicking the foot back, reaching the middle fingertip for the ceiling. Engage your left quadriceps. Keep trying to lift your hip points. Lift the lower breastbone. Kick the foot. Reach for the ceiling. And then release it. Coming to the other side. Turning the left palm back. Pick up the foot from the inside. Now, if that's too much for the elbows or the shoulders, you can pick up the foot from the outside. Then line up the thighs with each other. Now that feeling of lifting your hip points, drawing the navel in, lifting the lower part of the breastbone, raise your right arm up. Reach up for the ceiling as you ground through that right foot and kick the left foot back behind you. Kick as strongly as you can, heel away from the buttock. So it might not move very much, but just keep kicking and keep thinking about lifting the hip points, lifting the chest, and stretching up through the right middle fingertip. Breathe all the way up underneath the collarbones. And then release it. Have a little wiggle for a moment. Just wiggle through the hips a little bit. It's quite strong on the back muscles, that pose, when we've got that real kick back. Going to go for it again. This time we're going to do all of that, but we're going to also tip forwards. So whether you're picking a foot up from the outside or you're rolling the front head of that shoulder back, palm open, pick up the foot. Get the alignment first. Thighs, sense of lifting your hip points, sense of lifting the lower part of the breastbone. Reach the left arm up. Kick the right foot back. Stretch for a moment. Take a couple of breaths and keep the breathing as you pivot. Keep the kick, keep the lift of the left hand, and engage the left quadriceps. Press the heel into the floor. Kick those toes for the ceiling. You can use the left hand on the wall if the balance is feeling like it's not going to happen tonight. Keep kicking, keep stretching, and release that right leg down and swap to the other side. If you're swapping to the other side and using the wall, remember you've got to turn. All right. Rolling the front head of that shoulder back. I'm watching you for a moment on the screen. Line up the thighs. Think about lifting the hip points, lifting the lower part of the breastbone. Stretch your right arm up. Now really get the stretch. Try and engage the right quadriceps. Kick as hard as you can and take a couple of deep breaths before you pivot forwards. Then maintain all of that action as you pivot. My heart is lifting. The leg is kicking. I'm reaching for the ceiling. Good. Really good. All right, and then release it. Have a little wiggle. Bring your hands into prayer in front of the chest with the feet at hip width distance. Looking down the tip of the nose towards the middle finger. And feel that connection between the mounds of the thumbs, but also thumbs to the breastbone. Grounded through the feet, reaching the crown of the head for the ceiling. Focusing for a few moments on your breath, breathing all the way up underneath the collarbones. No need to engage bandha. It's starting to soften things a little bit. And bring your hands down to your hips. Step your feet out a little bit wider, but outside edges of the feet parallel to the sides of the mat, and then bend your knees. Feel like you're folding from the hip creases, so identify where those are. The chest nice and lifted and long as you fold down towards the thighs. Once you're there, releasing the back of the neck, bring your chin in. And then release the hands down to the floor. Excuse the peculiar noise. Now while you're there, just dangle. You can straighten the legs a little bit. Just keeping the knees bent, softening, letting the lower back muscles release. And bring your hands to the floor and step your feet back briefly into downward dog. Make it a soft downward dog. Just let the head dangle. And then come down onto your knees. Point your toes back. Have your knees around hip width distance. And bring the hands onto the back of the pelvis. So knees can be slightly wider than hip width distance, but you don't want them as wide as your mat. I'm going to create all of that same action again that we just created in our Natarajasana dancer's pose. Lengthening the tailbone towards the knees. Use your hands to guide the buttocks down, the tailbone down, and lengthening towards the knees. Then think about lifting your hip points, drawing your navel in and lifting the lower part of the breastbone, allowing the front heads of the shoulders to release back. Finally, if the neck is okay with it, release the head back. Focus on your breathing. Take the breath all the way up to the top of the chest. Deep, full inhales. And let the skin of the back release with your exhale breath. Every so often, hollowing out the lower abdomen, drawing the navel in whenever you need to. Come back up to spine vertical. Bring the hands into prayer in front of the chest. Bring your chin in, look down the tip of the nose towards the middle fingers. Keep the focus on your breathing. An option to repeat or tuck the toes under and go for the heels, or keep the toes pointing back and go for the heels. Up to you which version you go for. But we're all going to start repeating, even if your toes are tucked under. And then I've lengthened the tailbone towards the knees, so there's a slight movement forwards of the pelvis. Then a feeling of lifting the hip points, the lower breastbone, releasing the front heads of the shoulders back. Taking the head back, take a few deep breaths, and then keep the focus on the breathing, even if you're going for the heels. If you're going for your heels, try and get a good grip. Then feel like you're trying to pull away again from the heels as you bring the hip points forwards. Breathe deeply, and whenever you're ready, coming up out of the pose. Take a moment with the hands in prayer, looking down the tip of the nose towards the middle fingers. If you've got the toes tucked under, point them back. Then bring the toes towards each other. Very slowly coming forwards to all fours. So have the hands quite far forwards. Don't go into child's pose straight away. Step your knees out to mat width distance. And just for a moment, gently draw your navel in. So you're pressing the floor away with the hands, but you're not going up into a full cat pose. You're just drawing the navel in, keeping the upper back broad. Take a few breaths there. And then gently, gently, gently rock your sit bones back. So go really slow. Sit bones towards the heels. Elbows resting towards the floor. Forehead down towards the floor. And then wherever you want to take the arms. It might be that you want to stack the hands and put the forehead on the hands. It might be that you just want to extend the arms forwards. It might be that you want to bring the arms down alongside the outsides of the shins. Whichever version of child's pose feels good. Let your belly soften. Feel like you're breathing down into your belly and trying to press that belly and the side ribs out into your inner thighs. As you exhale and the navel softly falls back towards the spine, not pulling it in. If you can let the sit bones naturally lengthen towards the heels. And lifting the sit bones a little. Whichever way feels good to you, taking a little roll over onto your back with the knees bent. And walking your heels a little bit away from the sit bones, take the arms out to the side with the palms facing up. And as you press into the back of your head, lift your shoulder blades, draw the skin of the back down, replant the upper back on the floor. Let your belly stay soft and free to move with your breath. We're just going to stay here in a neutral spine position for a moment. Let your jaws relax and the skin of your face soften. Cultivate a feeling of releasing the body weight into the floor, surrendering the body weight, surrendering all action. And walk your feet away and forward. So we're not going straight into Shavasana. Have the heels pretty close to each other for a moment and then take your arms up over your head. Let the arms be fairly relaxed. You can hold on to a couple of fingers with one hand if you want to, but elbows are reasonably soft. And walk your heels over towards the right side of the mat a little bit. I feel like you're trying to get them as far over towards the right side of the room as you possibly could. Just moving them slightly off to the right. And then using the arms to help you walk the shoulder blades slightly off to the right. And use your right hand to hold on to the left wrist. Just circling a couple of fingers and the thumb around that left wrist. And if it feels comfortable for you to do so, cross your left ankle over your right one. So you can adjust this stretch so that you take it a little bit further if you want to. But you're not trying to come into a maximum stretch. You're just gently letting the left side of the body release. Keep your belly soft as you breathe. There's still a sense of letting go, a sense of surrender, of not making any particular effort. And let the eyes close if they're not closed already. And then unhook that left foot. Walk both the shoulders and the heels back to the center, and you can change the hook of the wrist. So left hand is hooking the right wrist. Leave the elbows soft. Couple more breaths in the center. And let the heels slightly off to the left again. Doesn't have to be too strong. And shoulder blades slightly off to the left. Then you can hook the right ankle over the left one if it feels good. Still letting the jaws soften, the belly soften, the whole body soften. And then unhook the right ankle from over the left one. Walk the heels back to the center, the shoulders back to the center. And take the heels out to mat width distance, let the toes fall apart. Bring the arms back down to the sides of the body, a little bit away from the torso. And if you want to repress into the back of the head, redraw the skin of the back down and replant the shoulder blades, you can. Focusing your full attention on the flow of the breath. Still allowing yourself to observe your breathing, the sensations of the body, the emotional tone. Letting go.